Hi, and welcome to Geordie Rambles, the channel where I walk, talk and explore. Today I go to the Cheviots, a range of uplands straddling the Anglo-Scottish border between Northumberland and the Scottish borders. It was a sunny, stark day, but the wind ripped through the air by the time we were at the top of the hills. Today I reflect on anxiety, how it's affected me, and things I've found helpful when I'm experiencing anxiety. Don't forget to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for many more walks just like this one. Also check out the other walks on the channel where I go all over the UK and talk about all other manner of well-being topics. I hope you enjoy. Good morning, or whatever time it is when you're watching this. We've just come out of Wooler, which is sort of a traditional farming town in Northumberland. And today we're heading up onto the Cheviots, which is pretty exciting. Beautiful part of Northumberland, not a million miles from Scotland. And we finally got some sunshine. It's a bit windy, but beautiful, beautiful day. Took us about an hour to drive here from North Tyneside. So yeah, here we go. We've basically been lost since the start of the walk, in the sense of trying to follow the instructions and not getting anywhere. But we used a bit of Google Map, a bit of the map in the actual book of walks we're using, and we have hopefully made it back on track now. Yeah, it happens. Is it on, the mic? Is that still blue light? So here we are out in the Cheviots. And these areas are known for the Cheviot goat. Bear with me on this. These are feral animals from Neolithic times that once roamed these fields and hills. But when the sheep became popular, the goats were no longer leaded, hence them becoming feral. An urban legend says you can still find the Cheviot goat wandering these lands. Do you think we'll find one today? Probably not. So it's quite windy up here and quite stark, and I think sometimes walks where you're getting hit in the face all day by wind, it's not that they're not enjoyable, it's just quite, you've got to sort of persevere with it, not try to fight against it, because it is windy today, but that sun is just beautiful. I'm feeling all right this morning. I feel sort of leveled and balanced, and as I've often said, I've got a few sort of tricky things going on in life, as does everyone, but I feel like I'm going to be able to manage them, and I'll make it through, you know, as we all will. We will all be all right in the end. So it's an 11-mile walk today, and you can probably see just in the background there, we're going up there, which is Cheviot Hill, which translates to Hill of the Goats, funnily enough. And this is, apparently it's a hill fort, so people would have settled there and, you know, defended the land around it. It's also formed by sort of ancient glacial structures and glacial sort of melting water, which is just amazing when you actually stop to think how old this land is. And in like the best possible way, our level of insignificance here, like this land doesn't belong to us, we belong to the land. I know it's a little bit cheesy and a little bit out there, but up for Cheviot Hill. So we've made it up Yeavering Bell. We're at the top. You can probably hear it's incredibly windy. And the views are spectacular, as you've just seen. You can just see for miles around. And even with the blasting wind, it doesn't feel any less spectacular. Today I'm talking about anxiety, which is such a huge theme and covers so much. I mean, where do we start? Obviously, we've learned a lot recently. You know, research has shown us anxiety exists in our body for a reason, dating back to times when we needed it. We needed anxiety to pump us, to get us pumped to, you know, escape an attack, or, you know, it served a much more primitive purpose, and that purpose isn't needed anymore. So in today's age, when we get anxious and feel that fear and that sort of horror, well, that's what it's like for me. My personal journey with anxiety didn't start until kind of late 20s. I did suffer low mood, as I mentioned before, for a lot of years, but the anxiety really didn't hit until later on in that. And I used to get really worried about things, especially at night. And I remember that feeling, and it would build up, and, you know, that feeling like you can't breathe, and it just becomes so overwhelming. And, you know, my heart goes out to anyone experiencing anxiety in the moment, because it's absolutely horrible. It does pass. It will always pass. But when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like that. And your instinct is to try and push it away rather than to just sort of let it be and let anxiety just sit there and ride the wave out. Because it will pass, as I say, anxiety will pass, but it just feels so ferocious in the moment. And I've struggled with it for years and years and years, and it's really not nice. That either whether it's that anxiety that I was talking about, which is like that in the moment sheer panic, or whether it's like an underlying anxiety about work or about something in life it sits underneath all the time and stops you truly being present for life. And yeah, I'm not here to offer any sort of magic formula about it, but just, you're not alone. If you experience it, it's horrible, but it will pass. The moment will pass. Things will change. Everything's always changing. And I think just remember that. And like, it sounds ridiculous, but the things that make us anxious today won't make us anxious in like a couple of years. It'll be something else making us anxious, which I know it doesn't exactly help things, but just gives you that perspective on it. I think another thing as well is, obviously we hear the word anxiety so much these days. Just remember, it's a different definition for everyone. Everyone's experience of it's going to be really, really personalised. So I always try to listen. If someone tells me they're feeling anxious, or they've been anxious or suffered anxiety, try and let them speak it out and get their version of what it's like for them across, to truly sort of try and better understand it. That's the same with any emotion, to be honest. If someone says they're experiencing it, don't assume it's the same version of anxiety you're imagining. It might be very different for someone else. And if we listen, we can make sure people feel heard. In the moment of anxiety, I find I often, I just, like I say, I want it to go away so badly. I'll try and do a quick fix, like I'll eat something, or I'll eat something sweet, or just something to sort of mask it, but that doesn't really work. It works for a second, but long term, I find it makes it worse. What I find I actually need to do is just sit in the moment with the anxiety. So much harder. But if I do that, it'll pass, rather than the instinct, which is just to push it away, of course, because it feels so uncomfortable. Also, like longer term, doing things like this, doing things I know, like for me, I know going out on a big day hike, it's not going to make me not be anxious in the future, but it will change my sort of perspective on it. Like long term, you got to do the hard work for longer term results, rather than, as I was saying, grabbing something sweet, because that will help for a second, but it won't help long term, like doing something like this, i.e. for me, going out on big walks frequently to sort of relieve the pressure. We've come down off the Cheviots now, and I'm just getting that real feeling of like accomplishment and pride when you've walked that far. It just feels really good. It feels really good in my body. I can almost feel my body thanking me for it. Thank you so much for coming along and joining me on that day out in the Cheviots. quite a blustery and windy one at times. And I hope you enjoyed my little chat about anxiety too. And you know, I know it's a really hard thing to experience, and you're not alone. We all go through it, and we all get through the other side of it as well. Don't forget to like the video, and please subscribe to the channel for more walks just like this one. See you next time.